Welcome to the modern age of advertising, where your success as a brand isn't just about selling products. It's about creating a massive storm, stirring emotions, and above all getting people to talk. In today's marketing world, it's not about playing safe. It's about disrupting the norm, breaking the rules, and most importantly, standing out. But here's the kicker: how far can you go before crossing the line? Can controversy really help your brand, or is it a dangerous game that could backfire? Let's start with one of the most iconic examples of disruption in recent advertising history: Nike. Nike wasn't just selling sneakers, they were making a statement. They decided to put Colin Kaepernick, the NFL quarterback who took a knee during the national anthem to protest racial inequality, at the forefront of their campaign. Some applauded, others were furious. People burned their shoes, trashed their gear, and swore off the brand forever. It seemed like disaster, right? But then something remarkable happened. Nike's sales surged by 31% after the Kaepernick ad. Source: Forbes. The controversy ignited conversation not just about Kaepernick, but about the brand itself. Why did this work? Why did Nike, a company whose target demographic spans from athletes to everyday consumers, take such a bold stand? Well, it all boils down to the attention economy theory. This theory tells us that in today's world, attention is the most valuable currency. In a society where we're bombarded with thousands of ads every day, standing out means doing something radical, something that forces people to stop scrolling and start talking. Nike tapped into the power of controversy to create an emotional reaction. They didn't play it safe. They didn't take the middle ground. They picked a side. They stood firm, and the response was overwhelming. People were talking, and when people talk about you, it's the best kind of marketing. But there's a twist in all this. Was Nike's move purely altruistic? Was it about making a statement on racial equality, or was it also a marketing strategy that capitalized on a global movement? Here's the thing: controversy creates visibility, and when done right, it can make your brand unforgettable. The hard truth is, controversy isn't just about pushing a social cause, it's also about the buzz it creates, and buzz in the advertising world equals sales. Speaking of disruptive campaigns, let's talk about State Street Global Advisors and their campaign that introduced the Fearless Girl statue. This campaign wasn't just about making a statement. It was a brand statement about empowering women and pushing for gender equality in corporate leadership. It wasn't just a piece of art, it was a marketing strategy wrapped in social good. The statue of a young girl standing fearlessly in front of the charging bull on Wall Street became a symbol of strength, rebellion, and change. The buzz surrounding the statue and the campaign: massive. It got people talking about corporate responsibility, women in leadership, and the role of business in social change. And here is the kicker: Fearless Girl generated $7.4 billion in media coverage for State Street Global Advisors. That is right, $7.4 billion. Source: Adweek. Now, did State Street genuinely care about gender equality, or was it just about using the statue to garner attention? Some critics said it was a corporate ploy to gain visibility, while others praised it as a landmark moment for women's rights. Either way, it worked. State Street made their mark, and they got the world's attention, which in the marketing world is the ultimate currency. But not all disruptive campaigns go as planned. Remember the infamous Pepsi ad with Kendall Jenner? Pepsi tried to tap into the social justice movement by using an image of a protest, peace, and unity. The ad showed Kendall Jenner walking into a protest, handing a police officer a can of Pepsi, and suddenly peace was restored. It was a disaster. People were furious. Pepsi was accused of trivializing serious social movements, reducing the power of protest into a commercial for soda. They were trying to capitalize on the emotion of activism without truly understanding it. The result? Pepsi lost an estimated $8 billion in market value after the Kendall Jenner ad. Source: The Guardian. And yet, here's the thing: the controversy kept Pepsi in the spotlight. It was a disaster, sure, but it kept them talked about. People were still engaging, still reacting, still sharing. In the attention economy, Pepsi's error was costly, but it kept them relevant. It's not just brands either. Politicians have been doing it for years. They create drama, they stir up fear. They play on our emotions, and guess what? We tune in, we listen, they get noticed. In fact, by 2020, over 70% of political ads on television used negative or fear-based messaging. Source: The New York Times. This isn't just a coincidence. Politicians understand the power of controversy. Negative ads create strong emotional responses: fear, anger, frustration, and these emotions are incredibly effective at getting attention. Why do they use negative ads? Because fear, anger, and outrage are powerful emotions that get people to act. They stir us up, and in the world of politics, stirring people up is the best way to get them to vote, to donate, and to talk about you. Now let's shift gears and talk about Apple. They didn't start a revolution by protesting injustice, but they sure disrupted the tech world. Remember their Get a Mac campaign? Apple didn't just advertise a product, they built an identity. In a world where Windows PCs dominated, Apple disrupted the market by positioning the Mac as the cool, easy-to-use alternative. It was playful, it was clever, it mocked the competition, and it got us talking. It wasn't just an ad, it was a cultural statement. Apple was challenging the status quo and making it look effortless. And that's the magic of disruption. Disruption doesn't always have to be controversial, but it always has to challenge the norm. It forces you to rethink what's possible and challenges the audience to choose a side. And let us not forget about the infamous new Coke disaster from 1985. Coca-Cola tried to disrupt its own market by changing the formula of its flagship product. The result? A massive backlash. People hated the new formula. Coca-Cola had to bring back the original formula just months later. But here's the kicker. The controversy created so much buzz. People were more invested in the brand than ever before. It didn't just sell soda, it sold the idea that Coke was relevant. Coca-Cola's attempt to disrupt its own brand brought them back into the cultural conversation, turning what could have been a failure into a legendary piece of marketing history. So what's the takeaway from all this? Controversy and disruption can be powerful, but they're not without risk. The key is to understand your audience, know when to push the envelope, and know when to pull back. In today's advertising world, the attention economy is everything. If you're not making noise, if you're not disrupting the conversation, you're invisible. But you have to be careful. Disruption can backfire if not handled right. The right amount of controversy can make your brand unforgettable. The wrong kind can make you a pariah. So the next time you see a brand or a public figure making headlines for all the wrong reasons, ask yourself, are they just trying to sell you something? Or are they playing a much bigger game? You may not like it, but you can't ignore it. And that's the power of disruption in the modern marketing world.